Let's
What
go.
is up, guys? Welcome to the 24th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast, season 2. Yes! Lakota got it!
Woo!
But, as always, NASCAR first. It was a crazy weekend in Indy. But you had, didn't, who won the ARCA race? Was it Connor?
Yes.
Yes. So Connor Zilich won his third start in ARCA, um, and he's won all three of the races that he's entered in ARCA. So he's got a win ratio of 100% right now.
And Connor just had a birthday, so now he's 18. So now,
He can finally run the Xfinity Series.
which he is with Junior Motorsports at some point because they had tweeted about Connor being on their team. I'm gonna be so for real. I don't remember the truck race at all. I think it was I don't know if it was that boring that I just don't remember.
It was just a very eventful weekend, especially with the Xfinity race.
Don't get me started on the don't get me started. Honestly, I don't remember the truck race at all. Like I actually don't remember anything about it.
Raja got pole.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was his second career pole.
But it looks like their first caution flag was out on lap 43. And so Grant Enfinger was actually had led up until lap 54 until Christian Eckes took the lead. And Christian Eckes ended up winning stage 1.
Yeah.
And then Mason Massey was involved in an accident.
I remember there was a caution for Corey because he had a flat for like running in with Christian, and then Corey got upset and came back and
That's what
ran
the
into
argument was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Corey had enough room. Like, I'm sorry, like, I think Corey was in the wrong here. Corey had enough room. He was like a foot off the wall. Like,
Honestly, Corey was a little dramatic. Like Christian gave him room, and Christian even said in his interview, "I gave him room." So
yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Stage 2 was won by Christian. But it was ultimately Ty Majeski to win the race. After the race, that incident between Corey and Christian, Corey went over to Christian. Christian had the biggest confused look on his face, of why are you coming to talk to me about this? Like, it's I gave you room. Like, what? Why are you even saying something to me?
The fact that you heard the entire conversation because literally Mambo was standing over next to Christian and basically had his microphone near their mouths, kind of. You heard the entire conversation. Yeah.
The thing is, they're like pretty much best friends off the track.
You know what? We all know. We all know when people are best friends off the track, they have big issues on the track. Come on now. We've seen it. AKA Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. They've been having a lot in with each other. So,
But
yeah.
yes, it was Ty Majeski to get the win. I know he had been chasing a win for a while. Did he win one before this?
I think he's the first this season in the Truck Series to win.
Let me do some. No, this is his first win this season.
Yeah, because he's the first Ford this season to win.
Gotcha.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
he has. They have. Is it 2 races left? In their regular season,
One.
or is it just
I
Richmond?
think they just have.
They just
Yeah.
have Richmond. They just have Richmond, because then Milwaukee does the round of 10 for playoffs.
Yes.
I think Grant and Tyler Income already got locked into the next round. After.
Oh yes. So, as of right now, it is Christian Eckes, that has the points lead, the regular season points lead. Corey is down by 50 points. So, for Corey to catch up, he has to do really well, and Christian has to do really bad at Richmond. So, I feel like it's kind of hard for us because we're all both fans of both Corey and Christian. So like you can't really pick a side. Um so it's a little difficult for us girlies. What happens when they're the two that gets to the 4? What's going to happen?
Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I already said I'm picking Christian over Corey any day. But
Okay.
I think that's also just me because, clearly I always have to have a Napa boy because I go from one Napa boy to another. So, who also happen to have the same initials, CE.
I don't know. Honestly, I
I
don't know
mean,
who I choose in that.
I like them both, but at the same time, I'm like Christian because I still am mad at Corey for what he did to Carson and Trucks.
Fair.
So that's just me holding my grudge for as long as Kayla apparently.
Like don't get me wrong, Corey. You you have 2 drivers that have absolutely dominated this season.
They have. I mean, to be fair, they have just gone back and forth between Christian winning or Corey winning or Christian winning, Corey winning. Like they have gone back and forth. And if it comes down to the final 4, there's no doubt those 2 are gonna be in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but it's probably gonna be those 2 fighting for the championship because they've just been
And another
dominant all year. Yeah. they've been good this year. By far.
But
If we're making our playoff bracket, I think already for our playoff 4 in the Truck Series, we should automatically have Christian and Corey in that.
I think, let's see.
And I mean, I think a lot of people do because it's every single truck race where the broadcasters are talking about Christian and Corey. You can't watch a truck race and not hear their names at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody knows that they're in a whole nother world.
I think honestly, I think one of the other 4, we're probably gonna go over this later in the season, but I think my guess is potentially Tyler Ankrum. And then if Taylor can make it through, he might be a contender. If you look at the top 10 right now, before Richmond, you have Tanner, who's right there on the line, Ben Rhodes, Taylor, and then you guys said Grant and Tyler have already locked themselves into the 8.
After IRP, Grant and Tyler Ingram got automatically locked in.
So
Because they had their points to get locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so to take the last 3 spots, right now they're taken by the 2 Gray brothers and Ben Rhodes. I feel like Ben Rhodes could. I don't think he's doing as well as he did last year. But he is the previous champion. So I have a feeling that you can't count him out of being one of those top 10.
Because then last year, did Ben had like what 2 or 3 wins last year?
Yeah,
So
Ben
that-
had
I'll
like
say, I
Ben
think he
had,
had a
like-
couple. Ford was doing a lot better last year.
Because I know Ben won Charlotte. I know he won that. Yeah, no, had to win other races. Couldn't
Well,
remember.
we all know that Ford did good last year, and then NASCAR didn't like that Ford was winning, so then they made their cars suck. So Fords haven't really won hardly at all this year, because NASCAR didn't like that Fords were winning all last year, because that's all that won last year was like Fords.
But all right, let's get on to the Xfinity race. Like I said, it's gonna be our NASCAR segment. It's gonna be a little long because we're probably gonna go off about the Cup race. But for the Xfinity race, it was Cole Custer first, Riley second. It was a Stuart Haas front row lockout. But Sheldon Creed had to have an engine change. Austin Hill repaired a driveline. Parker Kligerman had to repair his car after contact during qualifying and had unapproved adjustments. And they all started at the rear of the field. Like I said, Parker got into the wall during qualifying. And Ryan Sieg was actually delayed getting to Indy due to flight issues. So Noah had to start practice in Ryan Sieg's car. And then Parker Retzloff got into the wall during practice. But on to the race. They didn't even make it one lap. They didn't even make it one lap, and it was like what, an 12 car pileup.
It was like a 12-car pileup.
I posted it in the Discord chat how many cars were in it.
Yeah, I took a picture of it too because it was right before I was about to leave for work, and I was like, oh my god,
dude! I wasn't even at.
It was
I wasn't
12.
even at home. I wasn't even at home. I was in Arkansas. We were at the house that we were staying at, and my parents went down to swim. They're like, "Do you want to go swimming?" And I'm like, "No, I have to watch the Xfinity race." Good thing I did.
So it was Sam Mayer, Jesse Love, Justin Allgaier, Sammy Smith, Josh Berry, AJ Allmendinger, Connor Daly, Jeb Burton, Parker Retzloff, Leland Honeyman Jr., Jeremy Clements, and Chandler Smith. Josh Berry was out like completely after that. Who were there any others that were done for the day after that?
Sam.
There was like, oh yeah, Sam was out. There was at least 3 other cars that were out, like completely.
I think Parker Resloff was done.
Was he? I thought he was still racing.
He might have, but I think he got into another wreck. Because I remember an interview after, like in an NFL Care Center.
I think Josh Williams was done too, and then I think Anthony Alfredo was done.
They weren't involved in that one. Not yet.
Oh yeah,
not that one yet.
Yeah. We're talking
about lap 1.
Yeah.
But either way, they get restarted again. Next caution comes out at lap 16. Due to Chandler Smith being slow on track, he had a loss of fuel pressure. So they run all the way to the end of stage 1, which Riley actually wins that stage. Next caution is lap 55 for Brennan Poole. That was smoking heavily in turn 2 with a power steering pump failure. it ended up being a 1-lap shootout to the end of stage 2. And it was Ryan Sieg to get the stage 2 win. Wow. Okay. All right. I was at work at this point in time, so that's why I'm surprised. But they get restarted, and it was Eric Almirola leading with AJ Allmendinger on the outside, and Riley goes low for a push from Cole Custer and takes them 3 wide. And
That part was a little stressful right there.
yeah. Next lap, Eric Almirola spins from 7th. Let's see. They get restarted. It's not until lap 84 that Daniel Dye and Anthony Alfredo were battling on track. And Anthony is actually slow on the backstretch with a flat tire. Parker Retzlaff runs into the back of Anthony after he touched the wall and came back down the track. And Josh Williams runs into the rear of Parker Retzlaff. So that brings out a caution. Restarted again. And it is Greg Van Alst slow on track in turn 2 at lap 93. And it's a hard battle between teammates up until the checkered flag. And then what was it, the last lap that Riley pulls that move?
Riley did a last lap move. He went 3 wide, and he ended up pulling out in front of the
Eric
people.
Almirola.
Yeah, he pulled out in front of Eric Almirola. Loki thought it wasn't gonna happen, but he made a last.
He almost spun out because as soon as he passed Almirola, he his car went sideways.
But he saved it big time, so he made a last lap pass and he won.
So the girlies were pretty happy about that.
My pick won because I picked Riles to win.
It was gonna happen at some point.
Yeah.
You kept picking him. It had to happen at some point.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I kept picking him. I knew he was gonna win. But did I expect it to be Indy? Not really, no. But that place holds a lot of memories for Stuart Haas, so
the end of the Stuart Haas 1-2 finish.
They did.
Yeah. But,
they literally just reversed it, where Riley won and Cole got second.
But really the big controversy of the weekend was the Cup race. In qualifying, first let's start practice. Eric Jones spins and turns in turn 2. Luckily didn't make any contact. In qualifying, Austin Cindric makes contact with the wall twice during his lap. Austin had to go to the rear for repairs. Martin Truex Jr. had to serve a pass-through penalty on lap 1 for unapproved adjustments after tech before qualifying. But it was Tyler Reddick that got pole, and it was Denny Hamlin on the inside. So they go green all the way to the end of stage 1. It is Denny Hamlin that wins stage 1, holding off Kyle Larson. And so they get back going, and at lap 70, caution for debris on the backstretch due to Cody Ware losing a tire. And it was lap 75, when a huge pileup on the exit of turn 2 brings out a caution. Ryan Preece made contact with William Byron, sending him hard into the inside wall and collecting AJ Allmendinger and Harrison Burton. So get back going, which Bubba Wallace actually leads at this point. And Bubba Wallace ends up winning stage 2. And it is lap 106. Martin Truex Jr. makes contact with Kyle Larson and hits the turn 3 wall. And Josh Berry gets collected after contact with Ty Gibbs.
Truex with that contact with Larson, he blamed Ross Chastain for that. He came over, it was like the one car. Of course, it was the one car.
I'll just say
we love when they just blame Ross Chastain for everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's everybody's move. It's just, why'd the one car do that?
Then, on the restart after, it was Denny Hamlin in the lead, John Hunter Nemechek outside. And the field's wrecking in turn 1. Ryan Blaney gets turned into Austin Dillon by Carson Hocevar, who took the middle, making them 3 wide, and collected Joey Logano and Jimmy Johnson.
Okay, all I was going to say is Carson needs to cut it out because he ain't making no friends. And every radio activity that I have watched, everybody hates Carson. Which means in Bristol, I could have words for that man. Not only I just did have words for him.
After the race, there was some controversy between him and Noah too.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Words will be said to him at Bristol, if not Bristol, at Kansas. That will show my displeasure for him.
But speaking of Carson, he was leading when the next caution came out at lap 126, where Martin Truex crashes, bringing out another caution. They get back green, and it is lap 159. When Kyle Busch spins under Denny Hamlin, goes into the turn 3 wall, bringing out the caution.
To be fair, I feel like Kyle Busch probably planned that because everybody was running out of fuel.
And it was lap 162 when they brought out a red flag. Brad,
I think that was overtime.
I think they were already in one of their overtimes.
Okay. All right, either way, Brad Keselowski brings the field to green. Ryan Blaney's on the outside. Brad Keselowski runs out of fuel coming to the green and has to pit. So he, as they're going towards the restart zone, Brad peels off. Kyle Larson is behind Brad Keselowski, right? So he gets to move up a row. And as he's moving up, he's obviously, like, going forward to match Ryan. Apparently, they fire off at the exact same time. But because Kyle Larson had that momentum moving up to the next row, he got the better jump. Which it looked almost as if Kyle Larson jumped the start. If you watch the broadcast footage, it looks like he jumped the start. Unfortunately, SMT data, that is not true.
And to the NASCAR president, he didn't jump the start. Which that was stupid.
But either way, Kyle Larson takes the inside lane and leading into one. A big pile up brings out a caution. Daniel Hemrick and John Hunter Nemechek make contact and hit the inside wall, coming up and collecting Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin. So they throw out a red flag to repair the wall. The red flag lasted 17 minutes and 8 seconds. But they bring them back. They classify Kyle Larson as the leader on this restart. And it's Ryan Blaney on the outside. Kyle Larson ends up clearing Ryan, exiting turn 1. And Ryan gets passed by Tyler Reddick. A spin off of turn 2. At this point, the cars have not made it through turn 3 yet. They are on the backstretch. Okay? Ryan Preece is beached back there on the exit of turn 2. They hold the caution. The cars go through turn 3. The cars go through turn 4. The cars go all the way down the front stretch and past the start-finish line, taking the white flag. Then they throw the caution. Why? I get that, sure, Ryan Preece was in the exit of turn 2. There's no more cars coming through. But if you look back at every other instance where a car has been like that, the caution is immediately thrown. What happened here?
They had to have their golden boy win. I mean, let's be so for real. NASCAR has always favored Kyle Larson because he can do everything. Whatever thing he gets in, he can run. Therefore, Kyle Larson is NASCAR's golden boy. So anything for him to win, they're gonna do it. Never mind the fact that it didn't matter. Like, they wouldn't have thrown the caution anyways, no matter what. But the fact that they didn't throw the caution should say everything. And, you know, everybody wants to have their opinion of, oh, Chase Elliott's NASCAR's golden boy. He ain't the golden boy anymore. Let's face it. And one, we all knew that a Hendrick car was going to win anyways. Even though they wanted it to be William Byron, but that didn't happen. It was going to be a Hendrick car. And if the Hendrick car that was going to win, it was going to be Larson. No matter what.
See, like, you really can't be mad at Larson. You really got to be mad at NASCAR.
Yeah.
NASCAR call.
It's like,
this is a really good driver. He is.
Yes, Larson is very talented. I do not disagree with that.
Well, I know that.
But
like, it's just stupid.
It was just NASCAR's calls. That's what you really be mad about.
It's so stupid.
I have said this so many times. How many times has NASCAR held a caution for worse things?
They do it all the time. And then people get mad.
And you, like,
I mean, they did it for Denny Hamlin at Pocono. They did it for Denny Hamlin at Pocono.
Like,
because even Denny Hamlin said that NASCAR should have thrown the caution. Yeah. And I've seen people in the comments like, well, they didn't do it for you at Pocono. Or they threw the didn't throw the you at Pocono.
I'm telling you, NASCAR picks and chooses who they want to win. They hold cautions. Like, that's not it.
NASCAR will throw a caution if a car just taps the wall.
Mm-hmm.
They do it for Kyle Busch every time. They do it for Kyle Busch every time he tapped the wall. They throw that caution. It comes out ASAP.
Yeah, a car that is stationary on, like, in harm's way. Like, if that car, if they were still racing around the track, if you take away the fact that they were coming to the white flag, if the pack had to go around the track one more time, they would have not have hesitated. They would not have hesitated if it was not the white flag. I've seen a lot of people say that, oh, like NASCAR just didn't want to have a repeat of Nashville where all the
You-
cars. I'm like, bro, that's what makes it interesting.
I know
We
that's
don't
what like
want the
my,
same people winning over and over again. Let them fight it out. Let the strategies play into this.
see that's what my thought process was when I've seen people like NASCAR just didn't want another NASCAR race, but Nashville
It
was
was one of the
good.
most viewed. Like everybody
Mhm.
thought that was incredible. Like
Like Nashville had one of the highest ratings out of all the other national
yeah,
races,
exactly.
That
and I
and
was like,
that Nashville race sold out in minutes. The minute they put Nashville back on there, it was sold out within like hours.
and like with that national race, like you could have had a new winner, like, and if you had thrown the caution out at Indy, you could have had a new winner. Because at national, Zane could have won that race.
Yeah.
Zane had that chance to win
It was
that
really
race.
close. If there was one more lap, I feel like Zane could have won that race.
Zane could have definitely.
See, in Indy, like you could have had like Todd or Carson or Noah because they all finished in the top 10.
Yeah.
And that if you had another restart, if you had more overtimes, and
They didn't want to though.
like you could have had a new winner. Like you
Like-
could have had all.
And the fact that half the people were literally like out of gas or so close out of gas.
Like people come to these races wanting a show. Racing is an entertainment sport, right? Why would you take away that entertainment by holding a caution?
Because I feel like NASCAR doesn't want to do overtime. I feel like they just don't want to do overtime. But I'm like, let them
Who
do however many
cares?
overtime.
You've already
Let
been
them-
there for
let
6
them-
hours. Why not a couple
Literally,
more minutes?
let them do however many overtimes it takes in order for someone new to win. That honestly, I'm tired of seeing the same people win over and over again.
And the Brickyard 400 is supposed to be one of the crown jewels.
Yeah.
So
And-
like you don't want to see one of those races end under caution, like under
Yeah,
a
no.
white caution flag.
No.
Like,
It's
and
dumb.
all the announcers and everybody been talking about like if we have like with playoffs, like if you have a new winner, this could shake up the playoffs.
At that point, I'm like, let me see a new winner.
Well, let's see,
Let them shake up the playoffs. Because
potential of a new winner.
well, let's be real. Austin Cindric winning this year, that was not on my bingo card.
It was
So
not
that
on
really
either.
should.
He's
That-
my favorite cup driver, and that was
Like-
not on my bingo card.
That was on anybody's bingo card. Like Austin Cindric winning a race this year and locking himself in the playoffs shook the entire playoff list because no one, you would never expect Austin to win again.
Especially not
That
with Thomas
already right there, that completely flipped the playoffs because you only thought it was going to be Blaney in the playoffs. I mean, Joey I didn't really know about him, but then all three of them in, that did it. It already made the playoffs there.
But
I mean, granted, if there's a new winner, it's gonna be like what, 2-3 spots for other people to get in on points or win.
But with the weekend coming to a close, it was Daniel Dye with a finish of 7th, having his career best Xfinity Series finish, even after triggering that pile up with Anthony Alfredo. And this with the Xfinity race has been Stuart Haas's first back-to-back wins since 2020 in the Xfinity Series. Whenever Larson was doing his kiss the bricks, the guy right next to him straight up licked the bricks. I'm sorry, kissing it, fine. Straight up licking it,
They stole that move from Ryan Blaney because Blaney said that if he won, he was gonna lick the bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, The only reason that Kyle Larson won is so that they can announce he was doing the double again next year, but everybody already knew he was doing the double next year. That's the only reason why he won.
Yeah, wouldn't doubt it.
They just
He also had
They-
his INDYCAR paint scheme too.
But
that was
with-
the only reason why.
with the cars running out of gas at the end of the race, you had Ty Gibbs have to push Christopher Bell to the pit lane, as well as Kyle Busch pushing Bubba Wallace to the pit lane. Corey LaJoy also ran out of gas, but nobody pushed him.
I can't say I blame anybody because I definitely wouldn't push Corey LaJoy,
So
especially after like all the stuff that he's trying to start. So
Like a
Man.
touch truck had to come and get Corey LaJoy.
I mean, I can't say I blame them because nobody wanted to push him. You know, I'm
and-
sure if Carson ran, I guess ain't nobody gonna push him because he ain't making no flip on that racetrack.
But CJ McLaughlin is actually going to be racing for SS Greenlight in the Xfinity Series in the 14 car for Daytona, Atlanta, and Talladega this season. And not really NASCAR, but John Force actually got released and is moving to the next step of his recovery process, which is outpatient occupational and physical therapy, to just address any other like lingering like short-term memory and cognitive issues. Oh, Kyle Busch made a comment on the Pat McAfee show that payback is coming, and that Corey LaJoy is a liar after poker.
Yeah.
I felt like when he got to the track and then he was asked about all that, he was just straight up like,
Yep, like no comment. Yeah.
no comment. Like, you see this very too much two different sides of the racetrack Kyle Busch and then off the racetrack Kyle Busch.
Well, I think he softened up since he had a daughter. But I mean, also Kyle Busch really isn't that bad anymore.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like he's done a lot better, especially with fan interaction.
that is true, and also I think it also is because he has now 6 out of 8 DNFs in races. He hasn't been doing good either.
No.
This is like by far his worst season ever.
Yeah.
And he said that, and everybody else says it. So it's hard on him.
But
because it's been terrible.
Let me do a rundown of the IndyCar weekend. In practice 1, actually Aaron McLaren created little dash lights for the hybrid system. So it tells their drivers how full their battery is for the hybrid system, which I thought was really cool, and a cool addition to their car. But there was potentially smoke and fire coming from Marcus Ericsson's car. Will Power spun, Canapino spun, Graham Rahal had some lockup, and this was the session that Alexander Rossi crashed and broke his thumb. So they had to call up Theo Pourchaire, who was in the French Riviera, the South France, and had to be in Toronto in less than 24 hours later. So they said that I think they got him on a plane in Zurich. I think that's where they said. And then did a direct flight. And then he had to get on a train. And take a train that left the station at I want to say 12:50. And to get him to the track by qualifying at 2:45. So he was cutting it very close, but he made it. It's newcomer Hunter McElroy. I think that's how you say that. I think he's from Australia or New Zealand. But he was into the runoff area where Rossi crashed. After Linus Lundqvist crashed in the same place as where Rossi was at. So it was the final, or I don't think it was the final turn. It was the turn right after the alternate start-finish line, and it's the turn right before pit entry, and a lot of drivers were having some trouble in that turn. But it was Colton Herta fastest, Felix Rosenquist second, and Marcus Armstrong third. In practice 2, Teo Porcher makes it for that practice and fills in for Rossi. Marcus Ericsson had to take a new combustion engine. Fittipaldi hits the tire barrier. Rosenquist almost hits Fittipaldi when Fittipaldi basically parks it in front of Felix Rosenquist. You got some lockup from Scott Dixon. Same with Scott McLaughlin. And again, problems locking up with Pedro Fittipaldi. Same with Pato. Felix Rosenquist pulls off a very scary move, snaking through multiple cars that were going slow on one of the straights. Let's see, where was I at? And it ends up being Colton Herta first, or fastest. Kyle Kirkwood second, and Will Power third. For qualifying, it was Kirkwood, McLaughlin, Rasmussen, Rosenquist, Malukas, Newgarden, Power, Ericsson, Herta, Canapino, Rahal, and Grosjean that make it into the Fast 12. Alex Blow was actually originally in the Fast 12, but his 2 laps were deleted for impeding. Will Power has a huge save during qualifying. Colton Herta, Scott McLaughlin, David Malukas, Roman Grosjean, Felix Rosenquist, and Kyle Kirkwood make it to the Fast 6. And it's Colton Herta that gets pole. Teammate Kyle Kirkwood in second. So it was a Andretti Global front row lockout for the race. Lap 1, Rasmussen and Ferrucci get into it. Ferrucci gets nose damage. Lap 5, Canapino into the wall. Lap 32, which is this was actually kind of impressive. Graham Rahal went in for his pit stop, and during the pit stop, swapped out his steering wheel. And it only lost him 2 seconds on the pit stop. So, in lap 56, Teo Porcher and Linus Lundqvist tap the wall and barriers. Lap 57, Rosenquist and Ericsson both into the same runoff, which I believe it was... I can't remember, one of them locked up and kind of just like took the other one with them. I'm pretty sure that's what happened there. You had 18 laps to go, and you had Kip and Simpson into the wall in the same place where Rossi crashed. 13 laps to go is what you're gonna see on Twitter, on social media, wherever, because it was a major crash. You had Santino Ferrucci go airborne. But it was Pato. It started off with Pato Awards spins. Marcus Ericsson had nowhere to go, so he ends up hitting Pato. And so while they're sitting there, Pedro Fittipaldi clips Pato first. And then you have Santino Ferrucci basically use the front of Pato's car as like a ramp, and sends him into the air, into the catch fence, turns him sideways, and he flips and slides across the track. And after that, Nolan Siegel also hits Pato. Has to bring out a red flag, but luckily all of them were fine. They got out of their cars, and they were back to green with 10 laps to go. On 9 laps to go, you had Scott McLaughlin into the wall because of Will Power, his teammate, locking up and pushing him into the wall, which that caused Will Power to get a drive-through penalty. But there was 15 finishers, and 12 of those were on the lead lap. But it was Colton Herta, the one time I don't choose Colton, who wins. And it's the first time he's won in over 2 years, and it was a 1-2 for Andretti Global, with Kyle Kirkwood in second. So, wild. Cole Custer is going to be the cup driver for the Haas factory team, if we did not mention that before.
He's going to be in the 41 car.
He's going to be in the what?
41 car.
41. So that's the car that they're keeping, is the 41.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Basically, we know all of Stuart Haas, except for Ryan Preece and Riley.
And they did say that they have talked to Haley about being one of their Xfinity drivers.
I don't want her. I don't want her. IndyCar taker. I don't want her. I don't want her. I don't want her. I don't want her. I don't want her to be teammates with Riley because Lord knows if Riley stays with them, she'll wreck Riley out. She ain't got no problem because she causes wrecks anyways. I mean, heck, she was in truck. She wrecked out Tanner all the time. She ain't got no problem with it. I don't want her. IndyCar take her. IndyCar take her. I don't want her. I don't claim her. I don't want her.
Okay. So I'm going to go through and I'm... Go ahead.
They did say they talked to Riley too. Yes, I think Riley did say that they have talked to him. But Riley's been talking to Kevin Harvick about where everything he should go. But because the top rumor right now for what Riley would go is 2311.
Okay, here's my thought. I hate to say it, but if Riley goes to 2311, there's a chance he could actually win races. Do I want him to go there and be with Tyler Reddick and Bubba and Denny? Or not Denny, with them? No, not at all. But if it's his best choice for him that he could win more races, then I hate to say I think he should go there. Because at least he could be winning a lot more.
I didn't say wherever he goes, back to trucks, stays in Xfinity, or goes up to the Cup Series, he's got my full support.
I was about to say that was a given.
I mean, that's me. That's also how I feel about Harrison. I mean, I still have no idea what his biggest situation is. It's fine. It's fine. I'm doing great over here. I also need to have words with Harrison. I'll be like, I'm gonna need you to tell me what you're doing next year so I don't go into full panic mode.
Okay. I'm gonna read through these, and if you guys have any comments, I'm just reading down the list of all these tweets that are in the thing, because there's a lot. So if you guys have any comments, jump in. So
there's a lot.
Daniel Suarez is actually going to be driving in the NASCAR Brazil series at Interlagos. Not this weekend, but next weekend, the 4th. But he's doing it. So he's actually getting married. Him and Julia Piquet. I don't know if it's Piquet or Piquet. I say Piquet. But they're getting married this weekend I think it's this weekend. It's either this weekend or earlier next week. In Brazil, where Julia is from. So he's going to be running NASCAR Brazil. We haven't done the Formula 1 stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and read all this off anyway. It is rumored that Esteban Ocon has signed a contract with Haas. And so Stingray Rob's accident was registered at 109 G impact from Iowa. And IMSA in the Mazda MX-5 Cup is going to be racing at Martinsville which is pretty sick, honestly. That's gonna be total chaos. That's what I think, at least. And it is confirmed that Kevin Magnussen will be leaving Haas. So, which is why the rumors of Esteban Ocon joining Haas. Not too sure where Kevin would go. Maybe he might join Nico again at Sauber. Who knows? But again, Cole Custer doing Cup for the Haas factory team. Kyle Larson is going to be competing in a race in Australia for his high limit racing series. That's his, right? Is that actually his series?
Yeah, because I mean, technically Kyle Larson started it, so yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Penske announces a 5-year extension with PPG for the sponsorship of the NASCAR race, as well as the primary sponsor for Joseph Newgarden. So Fernando Alonso was very upset. They were filming with the Apex GP car. So the movie, the F1 movie car. And they were stopped in Parc Ferme, the Apex GP car. And the stewards thought that the session was over, but it still had, I want to say, 2.5 minutes left. And the stewards sent both Alonso and Stroll into the fake Parc Ferme that was being used for the filming of the movie. So Alonso was very upset about this, about being stopped there when the session wasn't even finished. So there's a clip of him tossing his jacket and yelling at one of the officials about it. Let's see. So there is multiple sources that say Devlin DeFrancesco will be returning to the INDYCAR grid next season. So we might see him back. Brandon Jones's wife got him to do a TikTok. It's kind of funny. If you guys have not seen it, if you want, her name's Ashley. If you want to go find it, on TikTok. And there was an announcement that Audi announced that former Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto, I think that's, I want to say that's how his name is, to lead their F1 project. I wonder if that's giving Charles flashbacks. But we'll see.
So, in the NASCAR Cup race, you know how they gave Chase Elliott and Brad Keselowski a penalty for going onto the racing surface, crossing the white line. They never gave Larson one because Larson's tires was just on it. And they never gave Ty Dillon one. And there's a video of Ty Dillon going over it. His tires going over it.
Oh yeah, they didn't give him a penalty, but they gave the other 2 penalties, but not those 2.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they definitely crossed over the commitment line for pit road.
Yeah, they gave Chase Elliott one and Brad Keselowski one. They never gave Larson one, and they never gave Ty Dillon one. Apparently, only Larson's was just because his tires was just on the line, never went over it. That was just a thing.
Wow.
But
I'm telling you, NASCAR's rigged.
Yeah.
There's that little video I sent in the thing where it just says, first Ty Dillon exiting the pit road, that thing. It says the video attached to it. And you can see Ty Dillon's in car, his tires go over. He goes over the line, but they never gave him anything. But they gave Chase Elliott and Brad Keselowski one. And then that made Chase Elliott mad.
I would too.
You know, Chase Elliott has been getting pretty mad this year. I'm actually kind of here for it. I'm not gonna lie, because he's kind of had it with NASCAR and people in general, which honestly feel that's a mood right there.
I posted his in-car radio on the group chat. I was like,
I should go listen to Radioactivity. It won't be very nice.
I mean, listen to Blaney's radio. He dropped like 9 F-bombs in a row.
That's just Blaney as a person in general. Every single race, there's at least like 12 F-bombs in there.
Apparently, Blaney's a crybaby because he expresses his feelings over the radio. Apparently, none of the drivers can express their feelings over the radio anymore. They just get called crybabies.
Okay, call me a crybaby because I express my feelings on a daily basis.
I just want to see these people that call all the drivers crybabies get in this car, race how these drivers are getting raced, and not having one expression over the radio.
Okay, all the people that call them crybabies, you get in the car, you race, you tell me how it is, and guess what? You'll probably be crying like a little baby on the radio too. When things don't go your way.
I was saying, like, you get in the car and you race the whole race with no expression. Don't come over the radio one time with no expression, no F-bombs, no nothing.
I can tell you, I don't even need to get in the car. It's just there in the open all the time.
All right, let me do this. Let me read off what I wrote down for F1. FP1, Yuki running George off the road. Charles kicking up gravel. It ended with Carlos P1, Max P2, and Charles P3. FP2, Charles hits the wall, causing a red flag. Zhou Guanyu spins in the same place as Charles did and almost collects Perez. And it ended with Lando P1, Max P2, Carlos P3. FP3, there was a bunch of lockups from different drivers going into turn 1. Lewis Hamilton spins, ending with Lando P1, Oscar P2, Max P3. For qualifying, there was a little bit of rain. But in Q1, Logan with lockup into turn 1, causing him to touch the barriers. It was a red flag for Checo crashing. And out in Q1, it was both Alpines, Zhou Guanyu, George Russell, and Perez. And Daniel Ricciardo was fastest overall in Q1. Q2, both Haas and Williams were out, and Valtteri Bottas. Lando was fastest overall in Q2. Q3, Yuki crashes with 2 minutes left, and goes airborne. It was a McLaren front row lockout with Lando on pole. Max with third, frustrated and punching the steering wheel, which people were complaining that he showed expression and showed frustration for once. Like, you gotta... Max is used to last year winning, like, 19 of the races. So, for him to come into this season and running a 5th place car, that's not like Red Bull. That's not the standard that they have been for the past couple of years. Like, Max is fighting for his 4th championship, and Lando's gaining on him. But for the race, Oscar gets the jump off the line, which we found out actually, Lando, there was an issue with his car, and it immediately jumped to 2nd gear. I think that's what they had said. So it wasn't just Oscar had a better jump. It was like an actual mechanical issue. Like glitch for Lando. But Oscar gets the jump off the line. Max takes it 3 wide on the outside and ends up going wide. And it is Oscar leading. Max has a slow stop, which by slow for Red Bull standards is like a second longer than they should have been. But Oscar runs off the road while he's chasing down Lando. Or no. Oscar's leading at this point. Oscar's leading a lot of this race. But he goes off, causing Lando to gain on him. You have Max and Lewis back there fighting for position. And Lando, so crucial thing. Lando is brought in first for the pit stop. Okay? So, he's brought in first, and it ends up undercutting Oscar. Okay? So, Lando leads when Oscar comes out of the pits. The team comes over the radio and tells Lando, or asks Lando to swap with Oscar. Okay? Lando straight up says, you should have boxed him first. So constantly telling the team, no, it's not gonna happen. You should have boxed him first if you wanted him in front. Right? So you have Oscar runs through the gravel a little bit while chasing down Lando, so he loses even more time on Lando. You have Max arguing with GP about strategy. Then the team telling Lando to let Oscar by again when Lando's leading. At this point, Oscar's almost 4 seconds back. And Lando says, this is the point that Lando says that the team should have boxed Oscar first. Makes sense, right? So, the team basically starts gaslighting Lando into thinking that he's using his tires too hard. Over the radio. It is lap 63 when Max dives down the inside of Lewis. Lewis goes to turn in and clips Max, sending the rear of his car airborne. And Max goes down into turn 1. But he continues after, but he lost like 2 spots. But like either way, Max claims that Lewis was moving under braking. GP, Max's race engineer, says that it's child to argue over the radio. GP called Max childish over the radio. Lewis said that he didn't move under braking. The team, McLaren, still gaslighting Lando, saying the way to win the championship isn't by yourself, it's with the team. You need Oscar, you need the team. With 3 laps to go. So, Lando slows down almost 6 seconds to allow Oscar to pass. So basically, McLaren spoils Oscar's first win by forcing Lando to give Oscar the place when Lando is second in the championship. Lando gave up 7 points in the championship on team orders. Oscar, from what I've gathered, Oscar is not a very, like, expressive person. But the way I heard him over the radio after he won kind of broke my heart. You just won for the first time in Formula 1 in a sport that you have been working towards. For him, it's been like 14 years trying to work to this point. And you don't even sound excited about it. All because the reason you won was because of a terrible strategy and a team call. Don't get me wrong, Oscar was leading a bunch of this race. He deserved to win. But it was McLaren's stupid strategy that screwed Oscar. And then McLaren gaslighting Lando into giving Oscar the lead. And ruining Oscar's joy of winning on his own. Do you know how messed up that is?
Yeah, Oscar probably felt like he just like was gifted that. He probably felt like he didn't really earn that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can understand a terrible strategy. Okay? It's fine. Like, it happens. But for your team, or for your team to call team orders to get you your first win, that's gotta feel like you didn't earn that. Like, I would have much rather sat in second and finished second than to have my team force my teammate to let me win. Like, you, in the post-race stuff, you could see how frustrated Lando was with it. And Lando has put his, like, blood, sweat, and tears into this team for the past almost, like, what, 6 years? I think it was, like, 2019 when he joined McLaren. So 5 years or something. And he is second in the championship. And he was going to win this race. And then, yeah, it's, I'm not mad at the drivers. I'm not mad at Lando. I'm not mad at Oscar. It is solely McLaren that screwed this up. Like,
I mean, McLaren knows they screwed it up because I've seen things on Twitter and I've seen people on TikTok. They're like, why? Like, you literally ruined everything.
like, on the podium, like, you saw a little bit of interaction between Lando and Oscar. But whenever Lando popped, like, his champagne, like, he wasn't even near Oscar.
Mm-mm.
Like, Lewis was the one that sprayed Oscar down with champagne. Like, I get that your teammate is your biggest rival. But the way that McLaren screwed up the strategy and didn't just be like, oh, okay, now we have this information for next time this happens. Let's not let this happen next time. They instead force their driver that's second in the championship to give up their lead.
Because when Lando said like he like over the race like he's fighting for the championship, and they came back over there. Didn't they say it's like, well, you need your teammate for the championship? Isn't that what they said?
So that's what I mentioned. They said that you don't win a championship by yourself. You win it with the team. Yeah, that's what they were saying. That's what I was saying. They basically gaslit Lando into like, yeah, it was total crap. Like, and then you look at all of the clips of Lando, like, obviously Lando's media trained. He's not going to talk the team down, especially when he has put like this much effort into this team. He's put almost 6 years into this team, and so many people have told him to leave, and he stayed. And this is how McLaren treats him. I get, like, Oscar getting his first win, fine. Whatever. Okay? But, again, Lando is second in the championship. If McLaren want any chance of that, they would prioritize Lando. Technically, Lando is driver 1 at the team. And on Oscar's point of view, I would not have wanted to win like that. I would have, like I said, I would have rather have taken second than won like that.
It's like, yeah, like I would have wanted to like earn.
Exactly.
Like I wouldn't have to be gifted.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Oscar did really well in that race. Like, he deserved it. But it was McLaren that screwed up the strategy. It was McLaren that decided to pit Lando before Oscar. So McLaren put their drivers in that situation. And now, unfortunately,
Like even
oh, go ahead.
I was like even in the cooldown room, like Lando was like kind of like sassy towards like Lewis. I saw like the video of like Lando throwing the hat down, and, like just like slamming his helmet, and Lewis is like, "You guys were fast," and Lando was like, what, 7 years or something like that.
Yeah, he was like, "Well, you guys were fast 7 years ago."
Yeah.
Lando was not very happy about that.
I mean, if I was Lando, I wouldn't be happy either.
I don't know. Still looking, like, I'm happy that Oscar got his first win, but I feel like if it would have been, if it wouldn't have been under team orders, I feel like Oscar's reaction to winning would have been a lot better. Like I said, Oscar doesn't seem like a very expressive person, but whenever he came over the radio for this win, he had that monotone voice that, like, you would not think that he just won his first F1 race. I mean, technically he won the sprint, but like a sprint's completely different to an actual Grand Prix. And I think the reason of that reaction was because of the team orders. I feel like Oscar deserved it, for sure. But I'm still sticking with the I would rather be second than handed the win by my team because of team orders. That's what I stand by. But Okay. You guys got anything else? It's about an hour and a half. Going on a bunch of rants this episode.
Pretty eventful race weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, there was definitely a lot of rants go. Yeah, there's been a lot of rants.
Cute, like that huge accident on lap 1 in the Xfinity race, that the ending to the Cup race, that huge wreck in IndyCar, Alexander Rossi breaking his thumb, and then you had
Bro, didn't Pato hurt his knee during that race too, where he had to go get it wrapped?
yes,
Or was that already?
he was in that last accident.
Even had it tweeted, they were like, y'all should have like had like that little caution flag this way, like, hey, there's an accident right here. Be cautious.
Okay, to be fair, there was caution flags that should be thrown in like every single race, and did they throw them? Not really, no. So a lot of accidents happened. A lot of people's feelings are hurt. But the thing, the thing about the Cup race is like, it's not even like the fan showing displeasure about the caution. It's literally the driver showing the like, why didn't you do it? Because I mean, Blaney said something about it. Ryan Preece said something about it. But also Ryan Preece has no problem like saying his problems. But it's also the fact that it's not even like the fans that said something about the caution flag. It's literally the drivers too.
See, and especially with that restart to the Cup race when Larson had to go up, when Brad came down, Larson had to go up. They should have paused, like done caution, paused it, and let him re-rack. Because then Blaney is the control car, and Blaney would have chose where Larson was, because that's like where you want to be at.
But at that time, he wasn't the control car. They just made Larson be the control car.
We'll see with Brad peeling off. They should have immediately came over race control and been like, wait a second, add another lap. Because
there was really no way Brad was going to make it. Like he basically, I mean, him and Blaney technically had the same amount of gas, which was literally none, basically.
Brad had lesser gas.
Oh
Blaney
yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, I guess he did. Yeah.
Brad was completely out. Brad wasn't making it until the end of that race.
Yeah, I don't.
But all right, very eventful weekend. But this
was a very rant-full season.
Yes.
Really, the only positive thing came out of it was
Riley
winning.
Yeah.
Riley winning.
But this weekend we only have one series that we talk about. Formula One is going to Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps. Such an iconic track. I believe Pierre Gasly is doing his annual run, which a couple years ago, if you guys don't know, we lost Antoine Hubert at Spa in a Formula 2 race. Pierre Gasly was really close friends with Antoine, and so he does every year brings just basically like a remembrance for Antoine, as well as any driver that they've lost, but specifically Antoine. And I do believe this is where Vantoff, I believe it was Spa that he passed away as well from an accident. So basically just a remembrance for them. But he does that every year that he has visited Spa. It's a very iconic track. They don't just use it for the Formula Series. They use it for different, like GP3, I believe. like basically IMSA World Endurance, that series. But Eau Rouge is very iconic, like within the racing world. But they're going to Belgium, to Spa. So who do we got at Spa? I'm going Lando, because I feel like it's a good possibility. He's done fairly well here in the past.
I mean, I had Lando and Charles.
Okay.
I had Charles and Lando. I have them switch.
Okay. I'll go. Who's my second?
Well, that we all chose Lando.
Listen, I am both a Max and a Lando girly. And I want Max to keep the number one. I want Max to continue his reign, but I also want Lando to win a world championship. So, like, I'm kind of, like, stuck in, like, limbo. But my third place on the podium. Oh, God. You know what? I'll go Oscar. I'll just do double McLaren to be safe. I'll just do double McLaren to be safe.
Love that.
But alrighty, I think that's it. You guys got anything else?
No.
Alrighty, are you guys ready?
Let's do this thing.
Okay. All right. Thanks, you guys, for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been the 24th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast. There you go. Yes, both of you.
Yes, I got it.
Season 2. We're about to go into a break, which I actually think Formula summer break is starting here soon too. Let me check. Yes, after Belgium, they go on summer break. So, after this weekend, we're going to have a 1 weekend without any racing of the series that we cover. So, we'll debate on if there's any like important news. I guess we might do an episode, we might not. It just depends on like what breaks over. It's the Olympics. That's why we're having a big break in NASCAR, and I do believe INDYCAR follows that as well. Is why they did their break at this time too.
I was gonna say, because I don't think nobody races because they all go on break for when the Olympics go on break.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll decide. We'll if there's any major news that comes out, we might do like a short little quick episode. But if not, we will see you guys in the second week of. Oh no, even actually it would be after Richmond is probably when we'd show up again. So
yeah, it comes back. Trucks come back August 10th.
Yeah. So if not, if we don't have an episode before then, we'll see you guys after Richmond. So, but let's get out of here. Let's do this outro. It goes peace, love, and race cars. Oh wow. Okay. Pull out the Riley Herbst cars. Fine. All right.
Well, it's only fitting since he won Indy.
True.
Only fitting.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.